All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Nzingha Hall, and I am the manager of youth programs at SisterLove.
Hello, my name is Aimee Registe. I am the Law and Policy Fellow here at SisterLove.
Excellent. And tonight we will be talking about the Georgia runoff election. So we're going to be giving you some pointers, some insight into what to expect for this Georgia runoff election, and just emphasizing the point of why it's important to vote and why it's really important to be civically engaged. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. So in this agenda, we're going to be talking about the runoff election, the candidates, who is eligible to vote, how to register to vote, the roles and responsibilities for these elected officials, and how this election impacts the reproductive justice policies. So let's start off. What is a runoff election? So a runoff election is a second election held to determine a winner when no candidate in the first election met the required threshold for victory. Runoff elections can be held for both primary elections and general elections. In Georgia, candidates must receive a majority of the vote to win an election. If no candidate breaks 50%, the top two vote getters then face off in a runoff election to determine the winner. And so Aimee will go into who the candidates are.
Yes, unfortunately, I cannot see the PowerPoint, but if I remember correctly, the first slide, slide shows David Perdue and John Ossoff. So David Perdue is the incumbent. He is a Republican. He is anti-Affordable Care Act. He's anti-abortion, and he's anti-immigration in the sense that he's anti-sanctuary cities or protections for undocumented immigrants. He's voted yes on a lot of different bills. He voted yes to nominate Aimee Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. He voted yes on the CARES Act, which is it can be a beneficial thing. He voted yes on the Stop Illegal Reentry Act, which increases penalties for undocumented immigrants who come back into the country once they've already been deported before. He voted yes to stop sanctuary cities, which prevents federal funding from going to sanctuary cities, which are cities that allow undocumented immigrants to live there. And he voted no on a bill that would have protected the Affordable Care Act and would have prevented it from being attacked by the Department of Justice under President Trump. And he is the incumbent. He's the Republican, as I mentioned before. He's the current sitting senator. And so John Ossoff is running against Senator Perdue. He's an investigative journalist and small business owner. He's from Atlanta, Georgia, and he's the Democrat. And so the policies that he supports, he's for the Affordable Care Act. He wants to expand it. He's for Medicare, wants to expand that as well. He's pro Roe v. Wade, which is the right to abortion. He believes in criminal justice reform, demilitarizing the police, passing a new Civil Rights Act, which would protect civil liberties, end cash bail, and reform the prison system, as well as he's interested in investing in clean energy and wants to make public four-year universities 100% debt-free.
Excellent. So then I will move on to our next candidates.
Yes. And so Kelly Loffler, some basic facts about her. She is the incumbent in this seat. She's a Republican and she has a blue collar background. She grew up on a grain farm and that's where she spent her younger years. So she voted yes for the nomination for Aimee Coney Barrett. She is on a commission for the social status of Black men and boys in support of that, which is a bill that establishes the Commission for the Social Status of Black Men and Black Boys within the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights Office, and it's to conduct a study on the societal conditions affecting them. She voted no on a bill that would have protected the Affordable Care Act as well, like Senator Perdue, and she's also anti-abortion. She's voted in. She's voted on a lot of different policies that would have prevented abortions from being performed. And then we have Raphael Warnock, who is a reverend. He is a Democrat, and he's currently running to take the seat from Miss Loffler. He's for Medicaid expansion. Excuse me, and he wants wants to build upon the Affordable Care Act. He supports reproductive justice and is endorsed by NARAL and Planned Parenthood. He believes in the responsibly funding the police departments while holding them accountable for their actions. He believes in reduced gun violence. He wants to run to reduce gun violence and reform the cash bail system. He believes in ending private prisons, believes in human rights for all, and is an ally of the LGBTQ plus community.
Excellent, thank you. So I just wanted to inform everyone of some dates and deadlines that are coming up with these elections. So what's going to be really important is that you request your ballot now. If you are looking to register to vote and you, for example, you didn't register to vote in the presidential election, right? So you can register to vote. That deadline would be December 7th. And if you choose to vote by mail or absentee, the deadline to postmark mailed ballots is going to be January 5th. Okay, so that's going to be really, really important. With the holidays coming up and, all of those things where people are going to be busy during the season, it's going to be really important that you make time to get that in the mail. And then the deadline for the ballot to be received in Georgia will be January 8th. So what's going to be really important is for you to get ahead. So once again, the deadline, December 7th. Early voting starts on December 14th. So if you want to go on ahead and mark that on your calendar to be ready to vote on the 14th, you can knock it out. Make sure that you're free that day, and you can go ahead and early vote. And then once again, the day of the actual runoff election is going to be January 5th. So let's say you want some more guidance behind registering to vote. So once again, the deadline for this election is December 7th. If you are 17 and will turn 18 before January 5th, 2021, you are eligible to vote in this election, and you must register by December 7th. Any resident of Georgia who is eligible can vote in the Georgia runoff election, and you may vote in the runoff even if you did not vote in the 2020 general election. So if you did not vote in the 2020 general election, hey, that is okay that you didn't, you may have missed the deadline. You may have been 17. Make sure that you are registered to vote, and visit registertovote.sos.georgia.gov for more information. So I'm going to actually refer to Aimee, and we're going to talk about the roles and the responsibilities of these candidates and how these candidates impact reproductive justice. I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen, but we can just have a conversation. So what does this mean? Like, what do these roles mean for these elected officials? What are they responsible for? And what do they do to impact RJ?
So these elected officials are running essentially to become senators, and senators represent, each state has 2 senators, and they represent the state. They represent the constituents, which are the people of that state, and they make decisions on their behalf. So for the 2 spots that are available up for grabs, it's important to vote in this particular election because these 2, currently the Republicans have 48 seats and the Democrats have 48 seats. And so these are 2 seats that could potentially go to either Republicans or Democrats. If the 2 seats go to the Democrats, it would flip the Senate blue, which would allow for certain more liberal policies to be put in place, which would be beneficial for the President-elect Joe Biden and Harris would give them more of a chance to get the policies that they want passed. If it were to flip red, it would be less advantageous for them in the sense that a red Senate or Republican-run Senate could be hostile to the policies that they want to have passed. And when it comes to the RJ issues, the senators have the ability to vote on the Affordable Care Act if it comes up again in the Senate. And that's a big one that provides health care for millions of people. They have the ability to vote on things like abortion, issues like contraceptives, having access to birth control. So those are the issues that potentially these senators could be called on to answer for.
Excellent. Okay. And so when we think about, the scope of RJ and where we are going, something that I want to really think about is we're thinking about reproductive justice. We're thinking about a myriad of issues, right? So why is it important to vote in this election knowing that we are thinking about healthcare, we are thinking about maternal mortality and maternal morbidity, HIV/AIDS, reproductive health care, housing, right? So why does this election impact all of these issues?
So this election impacts all of these issues because these senators have the ability to vote on these issues. In the Senate, there are 100 members, and if from the House, a rather liberal package concerning reproductive justice issues, concerning healthcare, concerning if it's passed in the House and the Senate, and it's a democratically elected Senate, it's more likely to pass. And that is just more benefit, that can be more beneficial depending on your viewpoint. And it's important to remember that this election impacts housing, it impacts immigration, it impacts the environment. A lot of these candidates, the more Democratic leaning candidates, believe in climate change, believe that a Green New Deal is necessary and that we need to move in that direction, believe that housing is a right, whereas the Republican-leaning candidates don't necessarily believe that housing is a right and don't necessarily believe in climate change or the Green New Deal. And so it's very important to vote in this election. It's important to realize that this election touches all issues, all facets of everybody's lives.
I'm thinking about that too. So one question I have for you, Aimee, what would you say to somebody who believes, hey, this is just a local election, local elections don't matter, or what would you say to the 17-year-old whose birthday is coming up in January about why it's going to be important to use, that birthday privilege of turning 18 to exercise the right for vote?
So I would say to them that local elections may be more important in a lot of ways than presidential elections because these people have the ability to impact your lives directly. These are people who are from your state of Georgia, who know the locations in Georgia, who know about Atlanta, for example, and they have the ability to vote on measures that are going to impact the way that Atlanta goes if it continues to grow and prosper, if it dies off, in a sense. So it's very important that you vote. It's going to determine what your world looks like. Georgia's the state that you live in. You want it to be a place where communities are able to thrive. And so I would suggest, please, 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 I would implore those of you who are 17, who are looking towards a birthday in the coming months, who have the potential to turn 18 right before the election, that you should vote because it really impacts your worldview, and it's very important to vote in local elections.
Excellent. All right. We are going to open it up to questions. If anyone has any questions from all of the streams that we have platforms on, feel free to comment. We would love to answer questions that you may have, whether it relates to voter eligibility or, about the candidates. We want to take a couple minutes and welcome those questions. Okay. So I have a question. So between the two candidates, who do you feel has the highest probability of getting elected? So maybe we'll start off with Ossoff and Perdue. Any predictions?
I don't know. Like, I feel like either candidate in both Ossoff versus Perdue and Loeffler versus Warnock, I feel like either candidate could win because of how
Hmm.
close it was during the general election that took place. They received like very close amount of votes, so I feel like it could really swing in either direction. That's why it's really important that people get out and vote.
Okay. Second question. Since senators are in office for 2 years, does this mean we won't have a chance to vote again until 2022?
No. Senators are elected in the 2 years, but there are other members in the House who have like, I feel like the terms are staggered. So it may be that in 2021 somebody is up for reelection again. So there's a potential for people being up for reelection again in 2021.
And going back to okay. Should we feel threatened by war the war chest that Republicans are building nationally with 40 million in ad buys versus the Democrats 7 million? Do the ads matter more than the street work? I think that's a really interesting question. Um, I'll start off. I will say they're going to be influential, but the work on the ground will always matter no matter what. Because word of mouth is honestly one of the best methods for communication. And if people see folks that look exactly like them advocating for issues that matter, people are going to be influenced by that. I don't know, Aimee, if you can talk about the ads, but the work on the ground is always going to be important.
I agree with Nzingha. I think that the ads are going to be influential, but I feel like they're mostly going to influence people that they would have already brought in as their voters. I feel like the work on the ground is extremely important. The people who are doing the grassroots work, I think that's really important. All the organizations that are out there trying to get people registered to vote, like that matters. So I think that it's concerning, yes, when you look at the numbers and the sheer volume of like the amount of money that they have for ads is concerning because that points to how many people support their message.
Mm.
But I think that the people on the ground matter the most, and if enough people get out to vote, it wouldn't matter in this election.
Sure. So election day is going to be January 5th, 2021. And then to make sure that you were registered to early vote, that's going to be on December 14th of this year, 2021. So I'll repeat that one more time. The deadline to register to vote for the 2020 runoff election is December 7th. Early voting starts on December 14th, and then the runoff election is on January 5th. Let me go on ahead and share my screen just so folks know and can visually see that graphic. And I'll read it one more time. The deadline to register to vote for the 2021 runoff election is December 7th. Early voting for the January 5th, 2021 runoff election is December 14th. And of course, the runoff election will be on January 5th.
And we got a new comment. I guess I can read it out. It says that senators are elected for 6 years, usually staggered. We had a resignation this year and a regular term expire at the same time. So that's a good comment, and that's very true. So.
Okay. I'm gonna give it like maybe one more minute for a question, and then I think we can go on ahead and sign off. While we're waiting for another question, if you have any further questions beyond this stream, you can always visit our website at www.sisterlove.org. If you want to contact me, my name is Nzingha. You can contact me at N as in no, HALL inhall at sisterlove.org. One more time. And as a no, HALL at sisterlove.org. Aimee, do you want to pull a plug of how to reach you and our social media?
Yes. So my name is Aimee Registe. It's AIMEE. And you can reach me at Registe, which is register without the R, REGISTE at sisterlove.org. You can reach us at SisterLove Inc. across all platforms. That includes Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and Instagram. And so you can reach out to those and ask questions about the election, and we'll get back in contact with you.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I think we're going to sign off for now. Once again, we are SisterLove. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This will be on replay on all of our platforms. If you happen to be at the very end and just missing us, please just let us know if you have any more questions. Please, please, please register to vote. If you have not already, please vote early. The holidays are coming around the corner faster than we think. This runoff election is very important, and it's very important to exercise your right to vote. Please do your civic duty and get the word out there that it's time to vote again. All right, you all. We'll talk to you soon.